What's up, everybody? This is Johnny Ferrari in Las Vegas, and you're listening to the Swerve Talk Network featuring Max Wrestling, Sunday Sag, Offshoot Radio, and more at the Swerve Talk Network on Twitter for more information. Woohoo!
I am surrounded by wrestling fans. Not sports entertainment fans. Professional wrestling fans.
World, look into my eyes. When you see me on a show, when you see these fans, you know you've got the best in the damn world.
This is the Wrestling Matters podcast where we stand up for professional wrestling.
Here we fucking go!
Well, enough is enough, and it's time for a change!
Professional wrestling! This is it! This is us standing up!
Yes, 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 yes!
That's 13-14!
Cena, I am the best in the world.
Cause that's the bottom line. Cause Stone Cold said so.
Yo, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another installment of the Wrestling Matters podcast. How are we all doing? Hope you guys are well in whatever it is you're doing. And yeah, it's a very action-packed show today, guys. I've got some few things I'm going to do today, plus part 2 of the Michael Larkin Wrestling Zone episode that I'll do. I'll stick that in today. But on today's show, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk NXT predictions and review of June 8th's big show, which was NXT Takeover The End. That's to come, the predictions and the review, all to come on this podcast. Yes, I did an audio during the week, so I'm going to fit the audio of the review on this podcast later on in the podcast. Also, Raw review as well. We'll stick the Raw audio review that I did, along with the NXT predictions as well. Stick that in later on as well. Also, we've got Smackdown, we've got TNA, we've got Ring of Honor, we've got ICW as well, plus a few other things as well. And a top 10 from What Culture this week. What they want you to forget about the one and only Adam Copeland, better known as Edge. So, all that is to come on this podcast. Hope you guys stick around. Hope you guys enjoy this podcast, guys. If you listen to this on the YouTube channel, hope you guys are welcome. Feel free to subscribe to the channel because you'll get this every single week on that channel as well. Speaking of channels, check out Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast. Check out Offshoot Radio, Max Wrestling Podcast with the one and only Dazzy Dangerously, not Paulie Dangerously, Dazzy Dangerously, and Craig Phoenix, his right-hand man, as well as Evan McCabe and all the others on the Swerve Talk Network. For more information, all the links actually will be in the description. I don't know what I'm saying for more information, folks, because all the links will be in the description below. Check them all out, guys, and show the guys some love. Also, Mystery Island. And I'm going to shut this in right now. Now that I've just brought that up, I might as well shut this in as well. All the information to the Mystery Island will be in the link in the descriptions below on YouTube or SoundCloud. Also, guys, be sure to check all of them out for one simple reason. Because I don't know when, I'm gonna find out now as I'm doing this, but Abyss, yeah, the monster, that big fucking bastard that you see in TNA every week, okay? He is coming to the Mystery Island, okay? He is coming to Mystery Island. Oh my god, seriously. Mystery Island may never be the same again, okay? Mystery Island may never be the same again. This big motherfucker is coming to Mystery Island, man. It is a big thing. I'm just getting all the information up. There we go. It is August 11th, guys. August 11th, Mystery Island in Liverpool, in Birkenhead. That's you heard me. 56 to 58 Oxton Road, Mystery Island in Birkenhead. Check it out. 56 to 58 Oxton Road again. Monster on the island. And that's right. The monster will be on the island. And that's Abyss. So that's a big deal for Mystery Island right there. Get yourself over there if you're there. It is August 11th from 2:30 to 4:30. August 11th, Mystery Island, 56 to 58 Oxton Road, Birkenhead. Get yourself over there. Holy shit. And, parental discretion is advised, or whatever that phrase is, because I'll tell you this right now, he's not for the weak of that. He's a big motherfucker, okay? He's a big motherfucker. And yeah, big shout out. You know what? I'll leave a link to the event in the description as well on YouTube and SoundCloud. Just check this out, guys. If you're on Facebook, you can get over there. Get yourself over there because it'll be well worth the wait. And big shout out to David Anderson as well for the work on the cover of it. Jesus Christ, he's done that a fucking good job of that, I tell you. But it's all there as well. Information, check it out. Mystery Island. Also check out their Facebook page, their YouTube channels, the Twitter page, as well as the website as well. All the information will be on Facebook. All the information will be in the description below. Like I said, be sure to check all of that out. Also, guys, make sure you check out TNT Wrestling as well. Now, I've got a review coming on my channel of TNT Wrestling. I will be doing a review on the channel, the Wrestling Matters channel, of TNT Wrestling, because I got a free TNT DVD, which I haven't quite watched yet because I've been very busy. I'm halfway through, but I'll finish it off as well. So be sure to check all of that out as well. Find them. I would imagine there'll be, all the information will be on the Mystery Island pages. If you can find them, get over there and check them out as well, because they work with Mystery Island as well. So just, yeah, be sure to check out all that good fun, guys. August 11th, the Monsters on the Island. That's right, Abyss. Right, guys, I don't really have much to talk about, and I'm saving the main purpose of what I want to talk about. If I have anything to say, I'll break it during the actual podcast itself, because what I'm going to do right now for the first part is get it out the way before I forget to put it in, because you know what I'm like, guys. I do forget things, and I do make mistakes. I'm not the perfect guy. I'm not the perfect host for you guys or creator for you guys. I try and bring you each and every week the best podcast that I can bring you, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it. So what I'm going to do right now, guys, is hit straight in to Michael Larkin Part 2. That's right, Wrestling Zone that I recorded with Michael Larkin. I'm going to play Part 2 of that right now, and then after break, I will play the audio of what I did with the Raw review and the NXT predictions as well. Very interesting Raw as well, so you might want to listen and check that out very much so as well. And then after that, I'll play the NXT review as well. I'll play the predictions with the Raw audio, and I'll play the NXT review as well of the big show, which was friggin' awesome. NXT The End, headlined by Samoa Joe and Finn Balor. All that will come. I'll play the Raw and NXT predictions in Part 2. And I'll play the NXT review in Part 3. And then in Part 4, I'll be back with Smackdown, TNA, Ring of Honor, and ICW. And plus a few other things as well. And plus the top 10, what WWE wants you to forget about Edge, according to What Culture as well. And hopefully any more information that I can fit in as well. So, action-packed show, guys. Stay tuned.
Well, those two had a great Ring of Honor title match back in 2004. And I mean, Nakamura and Joe, they just did on a house show. I forgot I don't know if it was in Florida or wherever they were touring. But yeah, I could see either Joe or Nakamura, Joe and Aries. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Sign me.
Yeah, either way to win-win. Either way.
And now we got the main event. Samoa Joe, Finn Balor, steel cage match. First time in NXT for the championship. Samoa Joe.
Yeah, Samoa Joe for me. This is Finn Balor's goodbye in NXT, and he'll be on the main roster. And from what I'm hearing, he's going to be a heel on the main roster. So, but like I said, this is Finn's goodbye, and Joe will retain. And like I say, it could be Shinsuke Nakamura versus Joe. It could be Austin Aries versus Joe. Either way to win-win. But I'm going with Joe.
Yep, me too. And that is your Takeover The End, which is now it's called Takeover The End, as it is right now.
Yeah. Right.
All right.
I'm going to throw this question out here.
Good.
Go to Raw.
Yes.
Monday Night Raw, the club split.
Oh, boy.
AJ Styles and Gallows and Anderson. Do you think they're paving the way for Balor to come up and join that club?
I do. Absolutely do.
Yeah, speak it.
Oh, man. I'm looking forward to seeing Balor and the club getting together. I've said it since the New Day beat the Vaudevillains on my podcast. I think the club should get the tag titles.
Yes. I've been saying that. I don't think there's any other stature of a tag team out there who can get the tag team titles, quite frankly. And there's only one team from what I'm seeing at the moment, who are capable of getting them belts, and that's the club. Anderson and Gallows, but I just don't see any other team. I mean, I was about to throw the next question out there. Who do you see I mean, we've just basically answered my next question as well, which is who do you see dethroning New Day, which was Club. Yeah. I mean, with this whole thing, though, just a quick before you say what you're going to say there, just throw this question at you so you can answer it.
Sure.
What do you see this going? I mean, do you think they're going to swerve this? I mean, all right, the Club and Styles have went their own separate ways. Do you see AJ staying as the guy, or because it seems that way they might be swerving it, or do you see the Balor Club forming, or Bulletproof, or whatever the fuck they're going to call themselves? The original Bullet Club, because we all know David Finn Balor is the founder of the Bullet Club. Do you see them forming as a 3 and then maybe adding AJ into the group, or would you rather see them feuding?
I would rather see them feud. I'd love to see an AJ Styles versus Finn Balor match. And the only other thing I could say is right now, since The Miz is not in the Money in the Bank ladder match, I'd love to see AJ Styles just beat the piss out of The Miz and take the Intercontinental Championship away from him.
I would see that. Yeah. I talked to Billy Johnson about this as well, and he says this on the podcast. He thinks that Styles there could be a way for Styles to get back into the Money in the Bank situation.
We got one more. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
we got one more call.
Well, there's two spots available because there's 7.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's 2 spots available because there's 7 guys that are going to be in it. Yes, I see AJ Styles. But do you think the surprise element could be Cody Rhodes? Because Cody, for those of you that don't know, just a quick side note, Cody's handed in his notice, he's moved away, he's explained why he's leaving, but there's a lot of people thinking it's a work.
A lot of people think it's a work. All right. No, I think Cody, I mean, just after, I think just because, with all these guys coming in, I think he's just also, it's a years of wear and tear. He's been with them since 2006, starting in OVW, then coming into the roster. I think it's just, Cody wants a break. Cody wants a rest. And quite frankly, I don't blame him.
Where do you see him going if he's not going to come back to WWE?
Well, there's a guy on the Indies now who recently just got fired. His name is Damian Sandow. I would love to see Rhodes Scholars as a tag team on the Indies, and maybe have him and him and Damian Sandow go to Ring of Honor, take on the Addiction or somebody like that.
Isn't he in? I'm going to say last time I checked, Sandow was heading for GFW, wasn't he?
I could be wrong. I don't know. I haven't seen that. I know he's got some bookings, but I don't know about GFW. If he goes to Global,
I was going to say I think Global Force is on that list.
Okay, I'll check that out then.
I think there's a promotion for that as well. Global Force being on that list. Anyway, that's what I wanted to talk to you about that one. But let's talk about Extreme Rules.
Mm-hmm.
We might as well talk about it because I talked about it with what I call it as well, Mr. Johnson, and I might as well get this up here and talk about it with you. Did you see the pre-show?
I did see the pre-show.
Which was the Big Cass owning
the
Dudleys again, and return of Enzo on Raw. So happy to see him back. And hopefully the final encounter with one Mr. Baron Corbin and Dolph Ziggler.
Oh God! Can I tell you, I'm so sick and tired of that feud right now.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily saying sick and tired of the feud. I think this, from what I saw on Raw anyway, I think the feud's still going to be going on. But what got me about that match was it was a no DQ match. It was more of a fucking wrestling match than it was a no disqualification match.
I'll tell you right now, I understood why they do it because, you can get disqualified for using a low blow, but he used the traditional low blow in an ODQ match, so he couldn't get disqualified, and then he beat him with the end of days. I get that, but yeah, I see where you're coming from.
It was just poorly done, to be honest. And
now,
I think they're building the Cass and Dudleys now. The Cass and Enzo versus the Dudleys at some point. Now that Enzo's back on Raw.
Yeah, I would do it at Money in the Bank. I mean, I know they're doing it at Raw, but I think there could be Dudley's cheat or something to beat them, and then you have Enzo and Cass get their dub at Money in the Bank.
It's interesting, though.
What else is interesting? Yeah, well, what else? We got
else?
Titus O'Neil. Saved Khalil Kalisto on SmackDown.
I'm just about to get to that. Kalisto obviously gets destroyed by Rusev.
Mm-hmm.
And I said this was interesting as well. Kalisto gets destroyed by Rusev. Rusev then destroys him again on SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
And then Titus comes out. And looks like, hopefully they're going to be building Rusev back into the monster he was before he met John Cena at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
But that's an interesting dynamic where O'Neil is going to be facing Rusev at some point for the title.
Mm-hmm.
Considering the direction Darren Young's going. What the fuck is that Bob Backlund thing? But where do you see that going with? I mean, do you see them dropping the title to Titus, or?
I got a lot of things to say about that. Well, the whole "Make Darren Young Great Again" is the whole parody of Donald Trump and that he's going to make America great again. But yeah, I mean, Darren Young. I mean, I think this is something that he said on Talk Is Jericho, that this is what he wanted to do. He wanted to work with Bob Backlund. So Darren Young is getting his wish. And Titus O'Neil against Rusev for Money in the Bank. It looks like that's where they're going, and I just have Rusev beat him.
Yeah.
But you make Titus look strong, so.
Yeah. I don't know. I think there's going to be a shock down the road for that. I just feel there's a shock coming in that. I might be wrong.
Well, we mentioned John Cena's coming back Monday, so if they're not going to do like a lot of people were saying, do Cena versus Rusev, if I were them, I'd put John Cena in Money in the Bank.
Yeah, maybe. But I think they're more leaning towards Cena and Rusev again. To be honest, maybe that'll be the case for SummerSlam. I'll talk about SummerSlam in a bit because I've had a rumor about SummerSlam. Maybe they'll put that for SummerSlam instead. So we'll have to wait and see.
I'll tell you, as long as they don't do Tyler Breeze and Fandango or Breezango against Goldust and R-Truth, I'm happy.
I'm done with that. Don't get me started on that. We could be here all day.
Hold on one second, Anthony. Yes. Sorry about that, but yeah, I'm so sick and tired of that.
Yeah, that could be the 5 months build into that, and then that's what we get.
They lost twice to him.
Exactly, they lost their first match and they lost again. 5 months for that. Whatever. Like I say, we talked about Kalisto. We talked about the New Day. We already mentioned the New Day. The New Day retained against the Vaudevillains. We've already talked about that. And who do you see dethroning them? And obviously we mentioned the Club. And speaking of the Club, what did you think of the Tornado match with the Club and the Usos?
I liked it. I thought it was a nice, good brawl, and then the Club needed to win, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was glad that they won. That Usos beating the John Cena of the tag team division. And yeah, let's hope they can get the tag title shot against the New Day. Because that's what needs to happen. Right, in my opinion,
Good.
This is my opinion, the show stealer of the match. Of the night, the show stealer. The match that stole the show.
Mm-hmm.
Miz, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Cesaro for the Intercontinental Championship.
I love that match, and a lot of people say, I can't believe I'm saying that about a Miz match, but yeah, it was a great match.
Yeah, I just couldn't believe I put Miz and Incredible match in the same sentence. But yeah, Miz gets away with by the skin of his teeth. Obviously, Miz is not going to be in Money in the Bank.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see next for Miz in terms of title defenses? Because we already mentioned about the AJ, but unless it's not AJ, where do you see that going now? Because Sami Zayn's not going to get a title shot against Miz because he's in Money in the Bank. So is Kevin Owens. So is Cesaro. So where do you see the Miz going for Money in the Bank should he not be able to defend the title against AJ if that does happen?
Ooh. I'm still going with my AJ theory, but if it doesn't happen, I don't know. I think we'll just have to wait and see on that. Be honest with you, I'm going to say I don't know about that. I'm still sticking with my AJ thing, but if that doesn't happen, I'm looking forward to see where they go with it. So, I'm just going to go for the element of surprise.
Where did AJ did not win the IWGP Intercontinental Championship, did he?
No. He just won the IWGP Championship.
Yeah.
Or IGWP, whatever Michael Cole called it on that paper.
Yeah, don't get me started on that. I remember on the that reactions video. I remember feelings clear about that IGWP. Boy, did he have a bad night. Yeah, boy, did he have a bad night in that. Going to the Money in the Bank.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get this feeling that this is just based on feuds at the moment right now with the five? The five people we've got in there, because you've got Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens who can't stand one another.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Cesaro, who's basically been feuding with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
Dean Ambrose, Chris Jericho.
And you've got Dean Ambrose and Chris Jericho. What's your take on that?
I mean, I agree with you. I mean, the only one thing I will say is watching that Jericho Apollo Crews thing. I mean, when Jericho went to do that lion salt, I don't know what the hell happened. I don't know if Apollo was trying to kip up or whatever, but that looked ugly the way he came down.
Do you see that benefit? Does it benefit that Chris Jericho is actually in that? Does he need to be in this Money in the Bank?
I mean, since he's, I guess, looking from the standpoint that he's the one who created it at WrestleMania 21. He was the one who came up with the match. He was in the first one. And I think after this, Chris Jericho's going to go back to being, whatever. But, yeah, the latest guy that they added to the Money in the Bank, I know we got Sami Zayn, Jericho, Ambrose, Owens, Cesaro, and now Alberto Del Rio, who beat Zack Ryder on Smackdown. But, yeah, Alberto's in it. But I don't know. So I mean, I think Jericho does have a say of being in it. I would have liked to seen Apollo Crews in it, but I'm fine with it.
Speaking of Kevin Owens,
good.
There's this thing going around. I read it on a dirt sheet last night that the plans for the main event at SummerSlam have been changed. The original rumored plan was Roman Reigns versus John Cena, but it seems they're going to be holding that off. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to get your wish. However, that's the good news. The bad news is they're probably holding that off for WrestleMania, from what it seems. WrestleMania 33. But the guy who's going to get his match, from what I'm hearing, at SummerSlam for the world title, I guess, is Kevin Owens. Does that tell you something that Kevin Owens may win Money in the Bank?
When I was looking at the people who are in it, like I just stated to you, I was saying right now, I'm calling it that Kevin Owens is winning Money in the Bank. I don't know if he'll cash in on Roman like everybody else does, or he'll do like a Rob Van Dam and cash in, like at an event or whatever. But I definitely see Kevin Owens winning the Money in the Bank and getting his shot.
If you like the Wrestling Matters podcast, why not check out their Facebook page at facebook.com/WM podcast and like the page and show your support to the podcast that stands up for professional wrestling, the Wrestling Matters podcast. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this podcast that I'm doing right now on behalf of Wrestling Matters. This is the Raw Review and NXT podcast. That's right. If you don't listen to this audio now, you're going to hear it on the Wrestling Matters podcast this coming... Actually, I don't think it will be this coming week, to be honest with you. But anyway, this is the Raw Review and NXT Predictions podcast. My name is Anthony Walker. I hope you guys are well and whatever it is you are doing. And yeah, I've decided to do something new, guys. So I hope this is going to be going down well with you. I've decided to do something new for this week at the most, until I decide what I'm going to do on the channel at the most, in terms of Raw reviews and that. The Raw review videos that I've done. Let me explain this to you, if I may. I decided to do some Raw reviews back in the day, and they've came out alright. Looking back on them, though, this past couple of weeks, I haven't been that impressed with them, quite frankly. And there's a lot of lagging on the videos. There's a lot of stuff on there as well. So I've decided to change things up. That's right. The Wrestling Matters channel is going through a change. And I've decided to basically try and bring you better quality on the channel as well, in terms of what I want to do. I still want to do the Raw reviews that on video and everything, but I want to do them, different. Do you know what I mean? I want to do them to like differentiate and, give you the better quality and better look in what I'm doing as well, because I recorded last month, Extreme Rules and a Raw review and all that. And despite what popular people say and everything, they all came back lagging. And I was embarrassed to keep them up on there because I should have. It's my fault, guys. I should have took them down because they weren't presentable. But all that has changed now, guys. I am more focused and more credible to bring you the best on that Wrestling Matters channel as well. You're still going to get the podcasts. You're still going to get all that stuff as well. That's not going to change one bit. That is not going to change one bit. You will get the podcasts. You will get all that stuff weekly. I'm just changing a few things up and decided what to do. And as I'm recording this, I did a little Twitter poll on Twitter, on my Twitter page. On my Wrestling Matters channel, should I play WWE 2K16 and 2K17 games? Because 2K17 is not far off. Just do podcast and reviews, Raw reviews, with the videos and everything. Just do podcasts, all three, and it seems 61% of you from 53 votes as I record this. So there's still 5 hours left on the poll. It seems that 61% of you guys who helped me out in that poll want to see all three. So they want to see some WWE 2K16 content and stuff like that, which is fine. I got no problem with that whatsoever. But without further ado, guys, let's get into what we're going to do. This is a Raw review of Raw, which took place yesterday, 6th of June in Oklahoma City. And it was headlined by a 6-man tag involving The New Day and The Club. But before we get to that, guys, I want to get to that in a second. I just want to run through a few things as well. Be sure to check out the Swerve Talk Network for the Wrestling Matters podcast with Dazzy Dangerously and Craig the Phoenix himself. That's for Max Wrestling Podcast, the two head honchos of Max Wrestling Podcast. Also check out Sunday Segue as well with Kenny and Co. Check them all out. Check out Kenny's new show that he does as well, Sunday Segue TV, which you will get on the One Wrestling, I believe it's One Wrestling video on YouTube, which is just for more information, follow Bill Apter on Twitter. Or follow Sunday Segue on Twitter as well for more information on that as well. But mainly, but also don't forget to follow Bill Apter as well because he is the head honcho of that. And if it wasn't for him, Kenny wouldn't have that job. But Kenny's worked his ass off and he deserves what he's getting at the moment. So shout out to you, sir. Salut in what you're doing. And I've seen a couple of your episodes of that as well. And I'm going to admit, I'm very impressed. Very impressed indeed. And you're doing your thing and keep it going, my friend. Keep it going. Now, let's get to Raw. Raw kicked off with a very strange look in Oklahoma City, guys. It kicked off with Dean Ambrose coming down the aisle. And as Dean Ambrose was coming down the aisle, it looked into the ring, and there were 6 ladders in the ring with the remaining 5 participants with Dean Ambrose coming down up on the ladder, and Dean got up on the ladder as well. And there was a verbal spat between all 6 of the competitors. And then out of nowhere, Teddy Long interrupted the Money in the Bank ladder match participants. It seems that the applications, if you will, the applications for SmackDown General Manager seem to be on the point, if you will. What I mean by that is it seems everybody's gunning. Either they brought him back for nostalgia or whatever. I don't know. Maybe he's going to be the new SmackDown GM or something. I don't know about that. But it seems that, the claims to be the SmackDown GM once SmackDown goes live July 19th, it seemed to be up and running. And very strange to see Teddy Long back, but nice in a way. And then Stephanie came out, chased him away, and took over proceedings because Shane was on vacation rather, and then made the matches involving the 6 participants, which saw Sami Zayn 1-on-1 with Alberto Del Rio, Dean Ambrose versus Kevin Owens, and the match that ended up being next after that segment, Cesaro versus Chris Jericho. Now, going into Cesaro and Chris Jericho, I actually enjoyed this match. I actually thought this match could be a perfect fit for a pay-per-view at some time. Obviously, Chris Jericho would probably end up putting him over. I don't know on that one, but yeah, it worked. The match worked. It was a very good match, very good for the time they had, and plus the amount of space they had between the segment because of going into commercials and everything and all that. So yeah, it worked. And Cesaro manages to get the victory very creatively too, because he had Chris in the giant swing, and then Chris Jericho ends up in a sharpshooter, which he taps out to. So a little bit of momentum there for Cesaro going into Money in the Bank. Now, US Champion Rusev defeats Jack Swagger by counter because Rusev pushed Swagger into Titus O'Neil at ringside. This is very, very, very interesting in a way to see Titus O'Neil get this spot, because it seems that they're going down the route for Money in the Bank with Rusev versus Titus O'Neil. This seems to be and looks to be good. Now, are we going to see Titus O'Neil become United States champion? No. Okay. I don't see that happening. If it does, it'll be the shock of the 2016 with me. And that's taking nothing away from Titus, because he seems to have stepped up his game, if you will, with Darren Young doing this, make Darren great skits with Bob Backlund. I didn't even know about that. But anyway, he seems to be stepping up his game and proving that he can be a player. He can be a guy. And it's amazing the guy gets 90-day suspension or 60-day suspension, whatever suspension it was, for touching Vince McMahon in the wrong way when grabbing him by the arm and that. And then he's getting to this US title run. Or maybe I guess you could say he might be, but he might have been used in the point of where Rusev goes over. Because at the end of the day, you need to push Rusev as the dominant United States champion again. Will Titus O'Neil beat him? No, unfortunately not. But Rusev needs to be the dominant guy again. That same guy. Obviously, he's Bulgarian now. He's not Russian. He's not sympathizing Russia. But he needs to be that Bulgarian brute, that Bulgarian monster to take that United States title, and make it mean something without John Cena having to do it. I firmly believe that not just John Cena can make a title. Somebody else can do it as well if they are used right or created right or booked right. And I believe Rusev could do that. I mean, he was doing it at that point until he ran into John Cena at Mania. Will he be able to do it again and be that monster? I think so. I don't have a problem with it, but it'd be interesting to see. It's interesting to see where Titus O'Neil is going in this as well. United States champion versus Titus, Rusev defending against Titus O'Neil. I mean, he's already stepped up his game. Will he be champion? No, but like I say, if they do pull the trigger, I can't see WWE pulling the trigger on this, but if they do, it'll be the shock of 2016. In my opinion. Speaking of John Cena, he had a confrontation with AJ Styles, and yes, the club. AJ Styles comes out, and I've got the notes here because it seems that these guys were shooting the breeze. One point, AJ comes out, the first shot that was there took was from AJ Styles, and AJ comes out and believes that on John Cena's best day he cannot beat him, and Styles would run rings around him. In terms of wrestling, I would have to agree with that. I can't argue with that point, because there is a reason, ladies and gentlemen, why AJ Styles is phenomenal. Yes, it's took him, 14 years to get to WWE, but he has wrestled all over the place. He is a wrestler. He is not Vince McMahon's creation, like John Cena has become. Unfortunately, he has went all over the place and been successful. He's been successful in Japan. He's been successful in TNA. He's went all over the indie circuit with PWG, Ring of Honor as well. He has been all over the place and he's been successful, and he's bust his ass doing it. I like to call it doing it the hard way. And he's definitely done that. And that's why, guys, that phenomenal AJ Styles, or that I am phenomenal thing, is not a gimmick, guys. That's what you guys have got to understand. Especially in the WWE universe. He's fucking good. He really is. Obviously he has to prove himself in WWE, because WWE is an entirely different platform to the others, especially in Japan. So yeah, he'll have to prove himself in there as well. I mean, as the old saying is, respect matters, and respect is earned, it's not given. So you'll have to earn his respect with the boys and everybody in the back. But will he get over? Will he be okay with that? Yeah, I believe so. I truly believe so. But at the end of the day, he'll have to earn that respect, though, and it will give him some time, and he'll do that. And what he said there, when he said he believes that Cena would, he would run rings around Cena, I'd have to agree with that. In terms of this being a Money in the Bank, in terms of a match, I don't see John Cena, although he has been able to go toe-to-toe with people in the past in terms of wrestling, i.e. CM Punk being one of them, but AJ Styles is entirely different to CM Punk. There's no question about that. I believe that AJ Styles, would probably bring the best out of Cena in terms of wrestling, like CM Punk did before, but he would do it in a different way. And like I say, it's an entirely different style of wrestling that John Cena would go toe-to-toe with. Because CM Punk is a totally different style of wrestler than AJ Styles is. So it's interesting to see where this is going, to be honest, as well. It's interesting to see where this is going to go, how this is going to go down. I should probably say on that one as well, how this is going to go down. So I can't wait to actually see how this is taking place, or how this is going to happen as well. So it's going to be interesting, and, it's going to be great. There's no question about that as well. Apologies for the little noise in the background there, guys. The other bit to John Cena, after that little fired back, or that little fire, that shot that AJ took at Cena, John Cena basically said that AJ Styles was a failure. Now, he didn't mention it like being all over the place, taking him 15 years to get to the spot. He's talking about his run in WWE. And again, I'd have to agree with him, because AJ Styles, and this is what made this segment good for me, AJ Styles in 5 months has failed. I don't agree with him not doing much in the Royal Rumble when he made his debut. I don't agree with that, because he came in and, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't he last 30-odd minutes in the Rumble? I might be wrong on that one, but he lasted a long time. So he made an impact in that respect. Basically, John said that in the past 5 months, AJ Styles has been in the WWE. He's done nothing but fail. He went to the Royal Rumble, did nothing. Like I say, I don't agree with that, quite frankly, because, like I say, he ended up being in there for 30-odd minutes. And the chances that he had to be WWE World Heavyweight Champion with the Roman Reigns, despite having the club's help, Anderson and Gallows' help, he still couldn't get the job done, which in that respect is true. He failed to mention his match with Chris Jericho and losing at WrestleMania, which, no offense to Chris Jericho, still is a crock of shit to this very day. But AJ then fired back with something which was fucking incredible. I'm sorry, because if you believe the dirt sheets, if you believe what you read, guys, on the internet and everything, AJ fired back, says, guys like Cena, bury guys like Styles. Let's get the shovel out. You mentioned the shovel and all that, etc. I couldn't agree more with that, because it seems that's the case that way. And like I gave you an example when I talked about Rusev. Rusev was built up as this sawed-off heel monster as the US champion the first time around, when he first won the US title. He was built off of this sawed-off heel monster, this big monster, this dominant force that nobody could stop, or nobody seemed to have stopped, until he ran into John Cena at WrestleMania, and then it went downhill from there. Now, don't get me wrong, the benefit that Cena got from winning that was great, because we got the open challenge, and the open challenge was good. It was very good. It brought out some great matches, Cena Cesaro being one of them, and hell, it gave Sami Zayn an opportunity to be the to compete on Raw as well. Even Adrian Neville as well had a shot, which was good. I mean, there was some positive things and some positive stuff that came out of that United States Open Challenge. But what Styles said was completely right. And then he turned around and went, you don't know who you're dealing with. And then the club tried to surround the ring, and the New Day came out and saved the day, But what Styles said, said he was right. If you believe if you believe what you read, if you believe what you read on the dirt sheets or the internet or the websites or whatever it is you read, we all read them. No question about that. We all do read them from time to time. If you believe that, guys, you would probably agree with AJ Styles, because, like I said, give you an example, Rusev. A lot of people, John Cena does seem to bury a lot of people. Even, the Nikki Bella situation, which he became the longest reigning Divas champion. Many people believe and many people understand that the reason she got that wasn't through her, ability, because the plan was for her to drop the title on Raw, I believe it was, to Charlotte. But the reason why she got the longest reigning Divas title, and I watched a clip of this on Total Divas, because they had the backstage segment on Total Divas, which is a fucking joke in its own right, but anyway, that's for another podcast. But the reason why, and many people believe the reason why she got that longest reigning Divas title, was for 3 things. One, because WWE was so desperate to vanish AJ Lee. Actually, it's 2 things, rather. AJ Lee situation, with CM Punk and whatever. Plus, John Cena, if you believe this, vouched for Nikki to be the longest reigning Divas champion with Vince McMahon. And you all know what Vince McMahon's like when it comes to John Cena. So I'm very much looking forward to this match. This is the match that I want to see in that Money in the Bank. Don't get me wrong, there's the world title, there's the Money in the Bank, yada, yada, yada. But this is the match I want to see. AJ Styles and John Cena. Is it going to be one-on-one? No. We all know at some point the club are going to get involved. It's as simple as that, guys. It's as simple as that. Anderson and Gallows are going to get involved. But speaking of Anderson and Gallows, they might have their hands full. Because going into the Vaudevillains and Enzo Amore Big Cass match, the Vaudevillains beat Enzo Amore and Big Cass by disqualification. Good little tag match. But this also benefited. Now, I don't see how this has gone about and where Enzo and Cass fit in this equation, if you will. Because at Money in the Bank, Stephanie backstage after chasing Teddy Long away again. Stephanie backstage at Money in the Bank, Stephanie backstage on Raw rather, booked a match, a fatal four-way match at Money in the Bank for the tag team titles involving New Day, The Club, Vaudevillains, and Enzo and Cass. From what I've got this past couple of weeks on Raw, there was a build. Yes, Vaudevillains fought New Day. It makes sense them being in this match. Vaudevillains fought the New Day, and then they had their match on Raw and whatever. And then while they were having the match on Raw, the Club came out and beat up the New Day and sent a message to the New Day saying that they want the titles. This would make more sense if it was a triple threat match. Because Enzo and Cass, I don't know why. I don't understand why they're in this equation. Don't get me wrong. Don't sit there and listen to this thinking I'm bashing Enzo and Cass at all. Big Cass and Enzo. No, I'm not. I love these guys. These guys are great. No question about that. And if these guys, I've always said, are the most over tag team in WWE at the moment, and they should have got an NXT title run, but they didn't. But at this point in time, at least, they do not deserve to be in the spot. They're just put in, maybe because of the new era, maybe because they got an opportunity. You know, it's all about giving opportunities out and whatever. I don't understand why they're in this spot. It makes no difference. This would make more sense, and this is what's lacking in WWE nowadays, things making sense. This would make more sense if it was a three-way. You know, if you want to give Enzo and Cass a tag title show, give it on Raw after Money in the Bank, or hell, give it to them and freaking make them the number one contenders for Battleground in July, you know. This does not make sense to me, that it's a fatal four-way. It would make more sense for it to be a triple threat match. And this is just my opinion, guys, and many of you guys probably would disagree with this, but it makes more sense to be a triple threat match than it does, you know, with Vaudevillains, The Club, and New Day. I'll give my predictions on the Money in the Bank in a future podcast. Also, as well, I wanted to also bring up Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, which was fucking incredible. The build, the hype that the WWE, kudos to WWE on this, because I thought the videos and what they did to build that match for Money in the Bank, this is a WrestleMania main event, ladies and gentlemen. I agree with what the commentators say. This is a very big WrestleMania main event, which is taking place at Money in the Bank. And the build, you know, the hype they build to this was fucking incredible. And it was absolutely spot on and superb. Absolutely superb. I thoroughly enjoyed that. And, you know, it's going to be great to see these two go at it at Money in the Bank. Will Seth Rollins get his world title back? I won't be surprised if they pull the trigger on it and give him his belt back, you know, and make Rollins the champion again. Do I see it happening? No. But there's a lot of people who probably agree with me, say, I hope it does. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Like I said, the Money in the Bank predictions is for a future podcast. Oh, yes. Before I go on to Alberto Del Rio and Sami Zayn, again, kudos to WWE as well for putting on a tribute to Muhammad Ali as well. Yes, unfortunately, guys, we lost the greatest boxer to ever step foot in a boxing ring. Now, I wasn't around. I wasn't born when he was boxing. I have seen video clips, I have seen footage, I have seen matches with Muhammad Ali and his greatest rivalries. You know, the match he had with Sonny Liston, the matches we had with, you know, people like that. You know, the George Foreman and his greatest rival of all time, Joe Frazier. You know, all them good stuff as well. Even the interviews he did with Michael Parkinson as well. Barack Obama said this best. This guy shook up the world and we're better for it. You know, we're all better for it. And like I say, he is and always will be the greatest of all time, and he will be truly missed. He will always be the champ. That's my little tribute there to Muhammad Ali, and kudos to WWE for putting on the tributes and, you know, the tweets that WWE wrestlers said, even Jerry Lawler and people like that saying, you know, paying tribute to the man himself, and kudos to WWE for that. Alberto Del Rio beats Sami Zayn. Good little match. It's all hype, all build to, you know, the Money in the Bank ladder match. Nothing really came out of this match. Sami Zayn was disappointed to lose this match, and also after that it ended up being Dean Ambrose and Kevin Owens. which we've seen many, many times. I would have been happy to see out of this Alberto Del Rio go against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn going against Dean Ambrose. But baby faces faces heels and shit like that. I would have been happy to see that. But like I say, Alberto Del Rio was a very good match. Sami Zayn, the Sami Zayn match, it was a very good match for what it was, for the time they had and the spot that they had. And I wouldn't mind seeing them two in a feud, quite frankly. Dean Ambrose and Kevin Owens, we've already seen before. We've seen it all before. We've seen it in, Dean Ambrose reminded Kevin Owens. It was Dean that beat Kevin for the title and all of that. So we've seen that match before. And don't get me wrong, them two can have good matches. They were both these matches were great. There's no question about that. But although I've never seen Sami Zayn wrestle Alberto Del Rio before, I did see Kevin Owens and Dean Ambrose wrestle before. So it was neither hero there for me on that occasion. Taking nothing away from them, of course. Natalya and Becky Lynch confronted Charlotte and Dana Brooke. This is all built to what is going to be a possible tag team match between the four girls. Charlotte and Dana versus Becky Lynch and Natalya. Despite the rumors that I'm hearing about what's going to happen with the women's title, there's question about this. Because Sasha Banks at the moment is injured. And I've read on the dirt sheets that Vince McMahon, again, and I think I've mentioned this on my podcast as well, Vince McMahon on many occasions has doubts in people who are injured. And he's doubting Sasha Banks being pushed, to the point, is Sasha Banks being pushed to the point where she could be women's champion or be in a spot to become champion. So where this is going, I don't know. But at the moment right now, Natalya and Becky Lynch versus Charlotte and Dana Brooke seems to be happening at Money in the Bank. What the benefit of this is, I don't know. But I guess we'll find out on Money in the Bank. And Charlotte and Dana Brooke came out dominant in the segment because they'd gone into a brawl and Charlotte and Dana became dominant and they look strong as a tag team. And these two could be good as a tag team, but I've always said that they should just make the Four Horsewomen a thing and just make them a group, like an Evolution kind of group, and just run from there, basically. That's my opinion on that one, but at the moment right now, Charlotte needs to lose the Divas title, the women's title rather, kill myself for that, please. Divas title, it's fucking dead, thank God. But it seems that Charlotte will be losing the championship at SummerSlam from what I'm hearing. I'm hoping it'll be with Sasha, but we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see also what happens in July at Battleground involving this. But, at the moment right now, guys, it seems it's going to be Natalya, Becky Lynch versus Charlotte and Dana Brooke at Money in the Bank. R-Truth, Tyler Breeze ended in a no contest. I wish this feud would just end full stop, quite frankly. Breezango, as they call themselves, Tyler Breeze and Fandango. There was a segment backstage which I believe got cut off on Sky Sports when I was watching it. When I was watching back the Raw, it got cut off on Sky Sports. That I swear to God, it was, I don't know, it went to temporary fault or anything, but backstage segment between Tyler Breeze and Fandango talking about certain things. What the fuck they were talking about, I don't know, and quite frankly, I don't care. Tyler Breeze was shaving Fandango's back. Ew! For fuck's sake, what the fuck? Why would anybody want to see that on the TV? That's for something off camera. And don't get me started on R-Truth and Goldust. Golden Truth, 5 months to build to get these two together, and they haven't won a match yet. They haven't won a fucking match yet. Says it all really, doesn't it? Anyway, going into the main event, guys, the Club winning a 6-man tag against the New Day, but it ended up being a handicap match, and the Club got the victory. It was a good match for the handicap match because Xavier Woods got taken out, and it was just left with Big E and Kofi, and the Club dominated New Day, and it was a good little match. New Day did put up a fight, but the odds were against them, which is very strange to see in a way, because usually it's the odds that are in favour for New Day, but not on this occasion. And New Day manages to lose in this match, and then the Club afterwards came in and tried to attack the New Day and make a statement at the expense of the New Day like they did with John Cena. But John Cena came out, saved the day, chased the New Day away, and made a statement himself that he's not backing down. He's not backing down from the Club, or AJ Styles for that matter, and helped out Big E and Kofi. The AA, the big ending, and the dropkick takeout as well. And in a way, in amongst all that, Styles was playing mind games with Cena a little bit. So, in all event, guys, a very good Monday Night Raw. If I'm scoring this out of 5, I will give it a 3. And if I'm scoring it out of 10, I would give it a 7. It'd be interesting to see what happens on SmackDown with Becky Lynch going against Dana Brooke and as well. And I think there's a few other matches as well. I believe Dean Ambrose is going one-on-one with Chris Jericho again as well. So that's going to be interesting to see as well. And by the way, speaking of SmackDown, USA are smart cats. Now, smart guys. The USA Network are smart. Because the reason why this brand extension is happening, or SmackDown going live July 19th is happening, and these changes that are happening for SmackDown, is because of USA Network. Because they discussed it with WWE, Vince McMahon, and whatever. They, like all of us, and like I say, if there's a new show that needs a revamp in WWE, no question about it, it's SmackDown. SmackDown hasn't been good since 1999-ish. And USA Network see that. And God bless USA Network for seeing that, because they are sick and tired, just like we all are, guys. Not just, USA Network. I'm pretty sure every wrestling fan that watches WWE or every wrestling fan that watches SmackDown or takes the time to watch SmackDown are sick and tired of SmackDown being Raw Part 2. Because that's what it is. Or that's what it has been at times. There's changes happening there and there's built there. Because they got Mauro Ranallo in there as well as the new head honcho of SmackDown, the new face of SmackDown in terms of commentating. So they got that going. So kudos to them on that one. That's the first smart move, because that dude is good. But, credit to USA Network for seeing what we have, and probably every wrestling fan that watches WWE have seen, that SmackDown is Raw Part 2, and it needs to change. And that's why this July 19th and the brand extension and everything, SmackDown is going to get its own identity. And boy, does it need it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we go... Oh, by the way, little preview for next week's Raw, which I'm very interested in. It's a Shield reunion. Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins will be on the Ambrose Asylum next week, which is fucking great. And I cannot wait to see that, let me tell you. But anyway... Let's get on to the other part of this, guys, or the other part of this podcast, which is the NXT Takeover The End preview. Now, NXT Champion, obviously we all know it's headlined with NXT Champion Samoa Joe and Finn Balor in Steel Cage. I'll get to that last. Ty Dillinger will go one-on-one with Andrade Almas, whatever it is. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but Ty Dillinger seems the one to be winning that one, I think. I think I'll go with Ty Dillinger on that one. I don't know what that match is, but it is what it is. I'll go with this. From what I'm seeing right now, guys, as I'm doing this, is 5 matches. That was the first one. Now for the main 4 that I want to preview. Let's go to the NXT Tag Team titles. American Alpha. Tyler Dillinger wins the first one. This is the American Alpha defending the titles against the Revival. These two had a great match the last time they met, and when American Alpha ended up winning the titles. I believe it was in NXT Dallas. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was. These 2 teams will steal the show. If not, it'll be the other match, which I'll get to in a second. But these 2 have the makings of stealing the show. I love Chad Gable and Jason Jordan as a tag team. These guys are good. These guys are very good, in fact, and they deserve their spot. But I'm a huge fan of the Revival. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a huge fan of the Revival because these 2, their styles and the style in the ring, these 2 remind me of the old Brain Busters, Anderson and Tully Blanchard. These 2 are very good. And these 2 are, in my opinion, the future of the tag team division. Who am I going for in this match? I'm seeing American Alpha retain, to be honest. I can't see the Revival getting the titles back. I think American Alpha are in that spot now, and I think they're going to have a good run with the tag team titles. So, American Alpha to retain. I don't see Revival winning, but if they do, I won't be disappointed. Because like I say, the Revival are a big deal and they have a big future, and in my opinion they are one of many tag teams that are the future of the tag team division in WWE. Asuka take on Nia Jax. This is I just see this as another Bayley versus Nia Jax when Bayley was the champion. Do I see Nia Jax winning this? No, unfortunately. She'll end up being dominant again. This will be like the match she had with Bayley. She'll end up being dominant, and being dominant over Asuka, showing her power and her weight advantage and all that. And Asuka will just be like Bayley. I'm not taking nothing away from Asuka because she's very good and a very good women's champion. But she'll find that way to win. And Nia Jax will make that mistake and be the champ. And, and Asuka will get her in something and end up retaining the belt. And that'll be my prediction for that because I don't see Nia Jax becoming champion. Will she become champion? Yes. I think she will become champion. When? I don't know. But I think Michael Larkin said this better. I see Nia Jax as NXT's Awesome Kong. In a way. Will this be anything? Probably. We'll have to wait and see, though. But That's a tough one for me, but I see Asuka retaining the title. Now, let's predict the match. Let's preview the match that I'm very much looking forward to. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Austin Aries. And I believe the winner will get a shot at Finn Balor or Samoa Joe, whoever wins the NXT title match, which I'll get to in a second. This makes my mouth water. This really does. As a wrestling fan, this is just fucking phenomenal. This has the potential to be match of the night, match of the year. Will this be good as Nakamura and Zayn? Probably not. But like I've said many, many times, these two will have a fucking good go at doing it, let me tell you. Who do I see winning this match? This is a tough one, because both of them have come into the NXT at the same time. I believe, and this is just my opinion, guys, I believe that Austin Aries will be the winner of this match, and he will be NXT champion. He'll be the first guy to be the NXT champion. I see Austin Aries just winning. Taking nothing away from Nakamura, but I think they're pushing Austin Aries to be the guy first ahead of Nakamura. Nakamura will get his chance, but I think they're pushing it. And I don't see Nakamura versus Samoa Joe yet. I see Austin Aries versus Samoa Joe at the moment, which leads me, I see Austin Aries predict that match, but will it be a candidate for match of the year? Fuck yeah. Will it be match of the night? Yes. If that doesn't, I believe the tag team titles will as well. But that would be the favourite to be match of the night. No question about it. Which leads me to the NXT Championship match in a steel cage. Hands down, Samoa Joe wins this. Taking nothing away from Finn Balor, but this is Finn Balor's going away match. This will be his last match before the main roster. This will also be interesting. When will he be coming to the main roster? I'll discuss that on another podcast. These two also have the opportunity to steal the show. I just see Samoa Joe winning. Quite frankly, Samoa Joe will retain, and like I said, this match to me is like Kevin Owens when Kevin Owens faced Finn Balor in that ladder match. That's Kevin Owens' goodbye from NXT. This is Finn Balor's goodbye at NXT. So this was an easy prediction for me. Will these two steal the show and tear the house down? Fuck yeah. These two are making history because this is the very first steel cage match in NXT's history as well. So my prediction for that is Samoa Joe to win. But all in all, guys, this has the makings to be a great NXT takeover as well. All built into a takeover Brooklyn as well. Yes, WWE will be back in Brooklyn for SummerSlam again. It's all building into that. But there's 4 matches out of 5 that I want to see. Quite frankly, that really means something. I don't know about the first one with Ty Dillinger. I think that's just a fill-in match, to be honest. But the other matches, I'm looking forward to. And yeah, I'm even looking forward to seeing Nia Jax and Asuka as well for the women's title. But like I said, guys, I think Asuka will be the champion out of that one.
There's only one wrestling podcast that gives you honest, uncut opinions and the most unique trivia since WWE did The Weakest Link. And the only place you can hear the show-stealing podcast promo every single week.
Covering WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor, Lucha Underground. Max Wrestling Podcast is the place for you. Join myself, Evan Money McCabe, the Phoenix, and the Butcher. Sundays at 7 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. Eastern time with your host, Danny Dangerously, on VOC Nation and the Swerve Talk Network.
Go to maxwrestling.wix.com/maxwrestling or follow us at Max Wrestling UK for more details.
Give in to the madness.
Be sure to listen to the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast.
What?
Every Sunday with Kenny Killer and the Galdem Sugar Shugs.
Yes!
With all the news, views, and laughter that you want.
They like jet airplanes. Woo! They like long limousines.
Every Sunday, the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast on Podomatic, iTunes, and YouTube.
So why don't you choke on that, slap nut?
Welcome all to this very special podcast, ladies and gentlemen, recorded for the Wrestling Matters podcast, which will take place this coming Monday, June 13th. My name is Anthony Walker. This is the NXT Takeover The End review. That's right. And I'm doing this for the podcast, like I said, June 13th. How are we all doing? Hope you guys are well. Hope you guys enjoyed NXT as well. It was actually very good Indeed, as it always is. It's NXT. So, without further ado, guys, we'll get right into it. First of all, be sure to check out everybody. Be sure to check out the Wrestling Matters channel as well for reviews coming up and various other stuff as well. WWE 2K16 content will be coming to the channel as well. It is on YouTube, youtube.com/AJW Wrestling Matters. Be sure to check that out as well. Also, check out the Swerve Talk Network as well. Daddy Dangerously and Craig Phoenix run the Max Wrestling Podcast. Offshoot Radio with my boy James Belmont, Mr. Too Sweet Indeed. Also, check out Kenny and the Sunday Segway, and also the one and only Evan McCabe. Thank God there's only one, because trust me, it'll be a handful if we had two. But he is over as fuck, and he's very entertaining. If you haven't checked them all out, all the links will be in the description below on YouTube and SoundCloud, wherever you be listening to this. So, without further ado, guys, it was NXT The End. This is the review. I saw it, I managed to see it, and it was only on the network, and it was very, very good. Ty Dillinger lost his match to a new guy you're gonna see more of NXT, so there was nothing new, basically. It was just a fill-in match, quite frankly. The 4 main matches were the women's title, the tag titles, Aries and Nakamura, and the cage, which we'll get to right now. So there was nothing really new. It was just like kind of like what Kevin Owens got when he made his debut, like a push kind of match, squash match, if you will. That's the word I was looking for, squash match. So let's get into the 4 main matches that made something. American Alpha versus the Revival for the NXT Tag Team titles. Now, these 2 teams went at it. These 2 teams absolutely tore the house down, just like I said they would. And you know what? From what I've seen on NXT, on this NXT takeover, this may be a debatable point, because many people may have thought that Aries and Nakamura stole the show, but from what I saw, I think the tag title stole the show. The tag team match stole the show. Hard-hitting offense, great psychology, tag team psychology in the match as well, back and forth, using that 5 count to their advantage. Hard-hitting stuff, great tag team wrestling, and these 2 stole the show, and Revival are now the new 2-time NXT Tag Team Champions, and the very first team to be 2-time NXT Tag Team Champions. I never thought they'd win, but they did it. The American Alpha, unfortunately, in a great effort, lost the match, and the Revival are now the NXT Tag Team Champions. Who's going to be next in line? Will Gable and Jordan get their tag team match? Will their rematch? I don't know. Because after the match, 2 big monsters, and I mean monsters, guys, attacked Gable and Jordan. For what reason, I do not know. And we're wondering who was behind it all. Out comes Paul Ellering. Now, if you don't know who Paul Ellering is, look him up. But he is the old World Warriors' manager. The manager of the World Warriors, Legion of Doom. Hulk and Animal. He brought them to prominence back in the 80s, maybe 70s, early 80s, and 90s as well. So Paul Ellering is in NXT, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens in that situation. And then it went on to the match that I was very much looking forward to, Nakamura and Aries. Now, don't get me wrong, I loved this match. Was it better than Nakamura Zayn? No. This was a great match. It was an awesome match, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it wasn't a bad match, because it wasn't, but it wasn't as better, or wasn't as good as I thought it would be than Zayn and Nakamura. But these 2 went at it. Great wrestling in the match, back and forth stuff. They took risks at each other, hard-hitting style as well, with being the king of strong style himself, Nakamura. Unbelievable stuff in the match, and Nakamura got the victory. What cost Aries the match, in my opinion, was the dive he did, because he did a dive through the bottom rope the first time and almost broke the guardrail with Nakamura's body. He went for it again, and Nakamura moved out the way and whacked his chin right on the guardrail and basically knocked him out. One mistake led to Nakamura getting the victory, and Nakamura wins in what was no doubt an awesome match. So I'm guessing by all this then, it is going to be Nakamura getting a title shot at some point, a shot at the NXT Championship. So we're going to see him win the NXT title, and I'll give you it now. Samoa Joe won the match. I'll get to the match itself. I'll review the match later on. Samoa Joe won the match, so I'm guessing it's going to be Joe versus Nakamura at some point for the title, because William Regal made this match, and he made the match to see who gets first shot at the NXT champion, or who gets a shot at the NXT title. And Joe's the champion, so I'm guessing it's going to be Joe versus Nakamura. It's going to be interesting, no matter what, man. It's going to be very, very interesting. But like I said, Nakamura wins a hard-fought match. Now, to a predictable kind of match for me, me because Asuka did defeat Nia Jax for the NXT title, retain a title. And just like I said, Nia Jax would be dominant. It was a different Nia Jax to what Bayley fought in NXT, in London rather, for the NXT title when she was the champion. But it was, like I said, Nia Jax gets the dominant and Asuka looks for that way to win, and she found it. You know, Nia Jax proves the dominance. Nia Jax makes a mistake. Boom. Asuka capitalizes. You know, it lures her into that trap, and she falls for it. And Asuka gets that title. Retains the title. What's next for her? Probably another match with Bayley, I'm guessing. I don't know what's next for Nia Jax, but she's got a long way to go again. But like I said, more dominant the match. It was a very good women's match, but it was a predictable match for me because, like I say, Nia Jax shows her dominance, and Asuka, being the champion, finds the way to win. Just like I said she would. But like I said, I think Asuka will have to defend the title against Bayley next, so that's going to be around the corner as well. So that should be very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Little side note, guys, if you haven't seen Breaking Ground Reload, go and find it. Go and watch it. Watch it wherever you can. If you're on the network, go and watch it. I highly recommend it. I watched it after I watched NXT. Very, very interesting. As it always is, Breaking Ground as always is, and I look forward to seeing another series, should another series come out. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, to end this little NXT Takeover the End review, we've got the main event itself. Finn Balor, Samoa Joe in a cage. NXT history being made, ladies and gentlemen. NXT history being made, the very first cage match in the brand's history. And what a cage match it was. Hard-hitting stuff, as you would probably expect from two of the top guys in NXT. But as I predicted, Samoa Joe came out victorious because it was Finn Balor's basically going away match, quite frankly. When he will go up to the main roster, we don't know. But that was his big farewell match. You know, he'd do business with Samoa Joe, and then he goes up to the main roster kind of thing. Kind of what Kevin Owens did for him in NXT Brooklyn last year, quite frankly. But a very hard-hitting match, a very hard-hitting main event. Lots of kicks and chops. It took them halfway through the match to really get going, because they were feeling each other out quite a lot for the first portion of the match, and then halfway through to the second portion, they just started wailing away and throwing bombs and chops and kicks at each other and everything, and really pushing it. And it took a muscle buster from the top rope to drop by Samoa Joe on Finn Balor to win the match. Unbelievable cage match, not bad for a very first cage match. A little disappointed with the time they had. They only had about, say, 10 minutes of the match, to be honest. Very little disappointed in that, quite frankly. But all in all, a good way to end the match at Samoa Joe, a good way to end the match and a good way to end the show in a good main event. Plus, Samoa Joe looks like he's going to be facing Nakamura next, considering where that match was taking place. Well, the direction of that match went. But there's a lot of guys got it for Samoa Joe. I hope Samoa Joe is allowed to have a long title run with this and be the Samoa Joe he used to be when he was in Ring of Honor. He had a 2-year run as Ring of Honor World Champion. Give him something like that. You know, let him be Samoa Joe. Don't give him any gimmicks or anything. Although I have heard a lot of rumors about the guy when he goes up to the main roster for the future. But, you know, let him be the badass Samoa Joe everybody knows he can be. Once you've got that, you're fine. But Finn Balor will be heading for the main roster now. Hopefully he'll be joining the club, because that's where he'll probably ought to be, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. But it looks like very much now that Finn Balor is heading for the main roster. All in all, guys, 5-star show all around. Thoroughly enjoyed it. But as we all know, ladies and gentlemen, that's NXT for you. You get enjoyment out of a wrestling show with NXT, and you'll do on the main rosters. Hopefully that will change though. But with that being said, guys, that is the end of this little review podcast about NXT. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you listen to this on YouTube, like, share, and if you're new around there at the YouTube channel, AJW Wrestling Matters, please subscribe. There's going to be plenty more of this as well. I've got some new things in the pipeline as well, and new and improved Raw reviews each and every week. I don't know where it's going to be started yet. I have to get my camera sorted out. I'm not using any webcams anymore or any of that stuff. You're going to get good quality Raw reviews from this point on. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but you will do it. So, because I've just got myself a new camera, a new camcorder, so hopefully I'll be trying that baby out. And you're going to get like a new environment as well, hopefully. So, all that is being worked on. If you're going to get reviews, you might get them this way from this point on until then. But I hope you guys enjoy them nonetheless. And if you listen to this on SoundCloud as well, hope you guys enjoy it on SoundCloud. Don't forget, soundcloud.com/wrestling_matters_podcast for where you can hear all the episodes of the Wrestling Matters podcast, plus the odd podcast here and there. Also, check out the Andrew Lockhart interview that I've done. I've also uploaded that. And without further ado, guys, my name is Anthony Walker. Check out everybody on the Swerve Talk Network, like I said at the beginning of the podcast. And until next time, peace out.
Well, enough is enough, and it's time for a change.
Professional wrestling, this is it. This is us standing up.
Yes, 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 yes.
That's 13-14.
Dina, I am the best in the world.
Cause that's the bottom line. Cause Stone Cold Simpson.
If you like the Wrestling Matters podcast, why not follow the Wrestling Matters podcast now on Twitter at WM Podcast for all professional wrestling news. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys enjoyed the podcasting clips there. Hope you guys enjoyed part 2 of the Michael Larkin, as well as the Raw and NXT prediction, the Raw review and the NXT prediction, as well as the NXT review itself. So, with that being said, ladies and gents, hope you guys enjoyed that. I don't know if I'll be doing that all the time, but like I said, I've got a few things in the pipeline that I'm looking to do, and once I execute my camera, everything will be sorted. But without further ado, guys, let's get back into the podcast, and let's get to Smackdown and T&A. Let's kick off with Smackdown. Now, Smackdown kicked off with Enzo Amore and Big Cass spit in the face of Club dominance, and their match with the Club ends in a no contest. Kevin Owens and Alberto Del Rio defeats Cesaro and Sami Zayn. Baron Corbin beats Kalisto. Becky Lynch beats Dana Brooke. A little bit of revenge there. Dean Ambrose gets beat by Chris Jericho, even though Dean Ambrose ended up making a statement after the match. And Apollo Crews makes a statement of his own by smacking Sheamus right in the mouth backstage while Sheamus was watching his big movie role in the Turtles. Everybody was having fun, and then Apollo Crews comes over, gets in the face, and Sheamus was looking to humiliate him. That was until Crews humiliates him by knocking him on his ass with the right hand. And I mean, did he ever knock him on his ass as well? So that is what basically took place on SmackDown. On TNA was headlined. It started off with Matt Hardy and Drew Galloway in an in-ring promo, and Matt Hardy decided to defend to challenge Galloway for the world title, because Galloway agreed to give Hardy a shot days before the Slammiversary pay-per-view. It ended up being Matt Hardy one-on-one with Drew Galloway for the TNA world title. Madison Rayne and Sienna in a number one contenders match for Jade's TNA Knockouts title, and Sienna will get her shot at Slammiversary as well, so that should be interesting. Eli Drake's Fact of Life turns into a brawl, but Drake gets attacked by Bram after it. All these clips you can see on the TNA YouTube channel. And what happened on that segment ended up with Bram, Grado, and Mahal Bashira and Bromains versus Eli Drake, the Decay, and the Tribunal with Rosemary and Al Snow. Eli Drake, Decay, and Tribunal ended up winning that match. Gail Kim and Ethan Carter, third backstage promo. Third match saw Mike Bennett and Ali, which is a female wrestler, I suppose. I don't know. Their Knockouts division needs to be sorted out in big time. And they went up against, in a mixed tag match, Ethan Carter III, EC3, and Gail Kim. And Gail Kim and EC3 ended up winning the match. Trevor Lee versus defends the X Division title against Eddie Edwards, and Trevor Lee retains the title. Again, that's just something for Eddie Edwards to do while Davey Richards is on the show. Matt Hardy and Bobby Lashley were backstage, and yeah, obviously Bobby Lashley hasn't took too kindly to Matt Hardy being the contender for the title. And then Bobby goes backstage and talks to Drew Galloway as well. Fifth match was Braxton and Sutter versus local independent competitor. Braxton beats him. A Willow promo. We all know who Willow is. And the sixth match was TNA World Champion Drew Galloway defending against Matt Hardy, which saw Drew Galloway win by disqualification because Jeff Hardy and all that got involved, all building in to Slammiversary, which you've already seen, I would imagine, if you've seen TNA. So yeah, that's what happened on TNA Impact, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Take a quick time out, and I'll be back right after this with ICW and Ring of Honor. So stay tuned. If you like the Wrestling Matters podcast, why not check out their Facebook page at facebook.com/WM podcast and like the page and show your support to the podcast that stands up for professional wrestling, the Wrestling Matters podcast. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Wrestling Matters podcast, and now it's time for Ring of Honor and ICW. First off, we'll kick off with Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor had 3 matches and a segment which will culminate on Best in the World. I'll get to the segment first. BJ Whitmer coming out and running his mouth off. We all know BJ Whitmer stalked Steve Corino's wife and child, and he comes out and shoots his mouth off again, goes too far, and Corino wanted him right there and then, but didn't get him. So on Best in the World, it's going to culminate to the point where BJ Whitmer and Steve Corino will have a match, fight without honor, and that'll end it all. Also, there were 3 matches that took place. The newest member of the Bullet Club, Adam Page, took on Colt Cabana, which saw Colt Cabana get the victory, only to be jumped by 2 members of the Bullet Club, the two monsters of the Bullet Club, and all hell breaking loose. Also, Okada took on Matt Sydal in what was a great match to kick off the program. If you haven't seen this episode, go and find it and just watch this match, because it was absolutely superb. Loved it, and it wasn't bad considering it for the time they had on the show. And the main event of this week's Ring of Honor saw Donovan Dijak one-on-one with Jay Lethal. Now this was pretty personal because Donovan Dijak actually broke the neck of Truth Martini on an episode of Ring of Honor television, and it all came to a head here. And thanks to a miscue by the Bullet Club, because the Bullet Club came running down looking to super kick Jay Lethal, but instead of super kicking Jay Lethal, they got Donovan Dijak instead. Lethal hits Lethal Injection and wins the match. And then after that, Bullet Club attacked Jay Lethal. So that was pretty much it for Ring of Honor. And like I say, guys, if you haven't seen it, go and watch it. If not for, the Donovan Dijak match, go and watch it for that Okada match with Matt Sydal. Very good match. Very good indeed. Now for ICW. Now there's a few clips that I'll put in the description below, guys, that were involved in ICW. The entrance theme for Local Fire, which when they took on the Black Label, Jack Jester and Drew Galloway, Drew Ba Dee, I believe it was called. I'll put that in the description below. You just have to see that to believe it, to be honest. Also, as well, a little bit of news, which I'll get to in a second, involving ICW and IPPV. I'll get to that in a second. ICW kicked off with Carmel beating Viper to retain the Women's Championship. Red Lightning throwing his weight around again. Mustache Mountain, Trent Severin and Tyler Bate took on Filthy Generation, Kaylee Ray and Stevie Boy in a ICW Tag Team Title Tournament quarterfinal match, and Filthy Generation move into the semifinals. And Liam Thompson got beat by Noam Dar, thanks to Liam Thompson's woman Debbie having a complete and utter nightmare, making mistake after mistake, which eventually ended up costing Noam Dar the match. Unbelievable. But the story of the night, guys, was ICW going on ICW and iPay-per-view. Shug's House Party in July and Fear and Loathing will be on iPay-per-view. Also, Mark Dallas coming out after the match and threatened to cancel the TV subscription that they got for Fight Club, the Fight Network in America and everything. Cancel that by burning it up unless Red Lightning agrees to a match at Shug's House Party, Winner Takes All, I believe it is. So it'll be Team Dallas versus Team Red Lightning at Shug's House Party. And also, like I say, ICW, iPay-per-view, ICW's coming to iPay-per-view. I'll leave all the links. Please check this out on SoundCloud or YouTube. Check the links in the description below. Check them out. All the links to all these subjects that I'm talking about will be in the description below, guys. Check them out, please. And if you want more on ICW, like I say, check out ICW On Demand as well. For more information, go to insanewrestling.co.uk for more information on that. I almost messed that up there. So with that being said, guys, that is the end of this part. I will be back in the next part for the final part of the Wrestling Matters podcast. Promotions and outro, and plus 10 things WWE wants you to forget about Edge according to What Culture Wrestling as well. So stay tuned, guys.
Be sure to listen to the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast.
What?
Every Sunday with Kenny Killer and the Galdem Sugar Shugs.
Yes! Yes!
with all the news, views, and laughter that you want.
They like jet airplanes. Woo! They like long limousines.
Every Sunday, the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast on Podomatic, iTunes, and YouTube.
So why don't you choke on that, slap nut?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the final part of the Wrestling Matters podcast. And now it's time for the main event. Before we get to the main event, guys, the main pièce de résistance, if you will, of this episode of the Wrestling Matters podcast, episode 115. Hope you guys have enjoyed it, or wherever you may be listening to this. Also, I just want to throw in the promos. Like I remind you at the beginning of the show, guys, check out Sunday Segway, Max Wrestling, Offshoot Radio, Evan McCabe, and all that good stuff as well for the Swerve Talk Network. Everybody's on the Swerve Talk Network, Saturday to Monday. I know, because like I've said, I am the last one to go out on Monday. Check them all out, guys. Show some love. They are great guys, you know. Kenny and Sugar Shug's doing the Sunday Segway. Daz and Craig Phoenix, the newly married Dazzy Dangerously as well. Shout out to you, sir. And Craig Phoenix, his right-hand man, head hard throwing the Max Wrestling Podcast. Offshoot Radio as well with my man, the one and only James Belmont, thank God. And a few others here and there as well with Roxy and maybe Mr. TNA as well, Mike Rodriguez. Mike, I'll be calling you soon to get you on the show. I haven't talked to you in a while, fam. And the one and only Billy Johnson as well. And plus Evan as well. You can't forget Evan. How can you forget Evan McCabe as well, because he's over as fuck. So show them some love, guys, and make sure you check them all out. Also, like I said, guys, check out Mystery Island. You've got to check out Mystery Island. Like I've said, all the links will be in the description on YouTube or SoundCloud as well. Be sure to check them out. Be sure to check everything out as well. I will put a little link of these episodes as well on Facebook if I can. I can't guarantee that if I can, just to make you guys aware of it as well. You've got to check out Mystery Island in August, because it's Monster on the Island, guys. August 11th, Monsters on the Island. That's right, Abyss comes to Mystery Island. Holy shit. So be sure to check that out, guys. And if you're in the Birkenhead area, 56 to 58 Uxton Road, get yourself over there. Get an autograph from the monster that is the proud member of Decay. Well, good group in TNA too, like I mentioned earlier on. You know, go and check him out, guys. Go and show him some love and make him welcome, and be prepared as well. He is a monster. So, ladies and gents, it is now time for the pièce de résistance of this podcast, which is 10 things WWE wants you to forget about Adam Copeland, or as we know him, Edge. So, without further ado, let's get into this. Okay, this is the last bit of the podcast. I've done the outro there. It's the last bit of the podcast. After this, I will end the podcast. So here we go. Number 10 on this podcast, on this chart rather, for this podcast, is his first title reign. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, guys, number 10, it was his first title reign. What title reign are you talking about? What title reign are you talking about? Is it his WWE one? No, it was his Intercontinental Championship one. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, an Intercontinental title run? I'll tell you how. Because in 1999, he was scheduled to go into Fully Loaded, okay, the Fully Loaded pay-per-view with the First Blood End of an Era match. He was scheduled to go in there as a challenger to Jeff Jarrett for the Intercontinental Championship. But on a live event the previous night, they were in Toronto, and somebody thought it would be a good idea to drop the belt, to have Jeff Jarrett drop the belt to him in Toronto. So the previous night, the night before Fully Loaded in Toronto, Edge won the Intercontinental Championship in Toronto. Why? Because it was his hometown. He's from Canada. So some bright spark backstage thought it would be a good idea. Oh yeah, let's just drop the belt to him in Toronto. Day later, at Fully Loaded, Jeff Jarrett wins the belt back. Yeah, you figure that one out as well. That's why people don't want you to forget about it. I probably want to forget about it, because it was just one match. That's all it was. Number 9, or one-day title reign. Number 9 anyway, moving on, was they want you to forget about his match with Booker T. Now, he had a match with Booker T, again in Toronto, at WrestleMania 18, but WWE were looking for something for them to fight over. They fought over a non-existent shampoo commercial. Yeah, the perfect way to fight to get any excuse just to get onto a match at WrestleMania. Oh, let's have them, let's book him in a match, lead him into WrestleMania, and have them fight over a friggin' shampoo commercial. A shampoo commercial that didn't even exist, for Pete's sake. Jesus Christ. Anything to get somebody over, huh? Anything to get somebody on a show. Number 8 was his cameo in the Highlander movie. He said one line, and then he had a sword, 2 swords pointed at his Copeland's. which is his genitals to you and I. Number 7 was the marriage he had on SmackDown to Vicky Guerrero, which ended because he basically kissed Alicia Fox the previous night at a hotel, which was caught on video. You figure it out. And quite frankly, I wouldn't have blamed him, because if it had been me, I would not only have kissed her, I would have done something else to her, but I'll leave that to your imaginations. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Number 6 is the One Night Stand pay-per-view. Now, ECW One Night Stand. It was his sex position that he did. Now, the match was Terry Funk, Tommy Dreamer against Mick Foley and Edge. But it turned into Mick Foley, Edge, and Lita versus Tommy Dreamer, Terry Funk, and Beulah, Tommy's wife. And the match ended with Edge spearing Beulah, okay, and pinning her in what is known as a sex position. Yeah, Edge spears Beulah McGillicuddy and then pins her in a sex position, spearing Tommy Dreamer's real-life wife, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that are ECW historians like myself. Well, old school ECW, not WWE's regurgitated shit. Anyway, moving swiftly on from that, number 5. Number 5 was the affair with Lita. Now, what many of you people probably may not know about this, obviously this broke up Matt and Lita, and then this brought in the feud because WWE, being WWE, cashed in on the money. But what many of you people don't know, and what many of you people don't know because at the end of the day she wasn't a wrestler, Edge's first wife was involved in this as well. Not involved to the point where it ended up being them four on TV, because she wasn't a wrestler. They didn't mention it, WWE. So it ended up being a triple threat triangle match basically with Lita, Matt, and Edge. But this little feud, this little triangle love affair cost Edge his first wife and caused him to get divorced from his first wife as well. So that's a little fascinating fact as well. And shout out to What Culture as well. Shout out to What Culture as well for getting in there. And the only reason they didn't care, or WWE didn't tell you about Edge divorcing from his first wife, was because one, he had an affair, and plus she wasn't a WWE wrestler. So if you're not a WWE wrestler, WWE don't give a fuck. Number 4 was his match with Alberto Del Rio at WrestleMania. Now, many of you people probably believe that this was his last match, which in story-wise, what turned out to be his last match, because as we all know, Edge, a couple of weeks later, retired from a neck injury. However, it wasn't, because in an untelevised match on Smackdown, it was Edge, Triple H, Big Show, Rey Mysterio, and Christian, I believe, if I remember correctly, yes, Christian, against Alberto Del Rio and The Core as well. And earlier on in the night, Edge ended up spearing Tyrus, and WWE What Culture. I'll put this video in the description below, but guys, so you can go and check it out yourself, and all the information for What Culture as well. Edge speared Tyrus, and you see a clip after he spears him, he grabs his neck. 1 week later, he retires. Yeah. Anyway, number 3, ladies and gents, was this situation with Christian. When Edge was first brought into WWE, Christian was already in. He won the light heavyweight title at Judgment Day in 1998, and then Edge was around at that point as well. And then Christian convinced Edge to join the Brood. At that point, WWE portrayed them as brothers, blood, as brothers. When Christian left for TNA, and then came back, they were just good friends. The brother angle fucked up, basically. But to true Edge and Christian fans, they were still brothers because, Edge and Christian tag team. Anyway, number 2. During his injury, he had an injury at one point. But apparently, during the injury, he also got done for steroids as well, because one injury, it was round about the time where we all went through the old situation where, Chris Benoit situation, the unfortunate incident, which was caused by steroids. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. It was a steroid situation, no doubt about it. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. There were 4 people who were caught, who were apparently patients to a pharmacy that was producing steroids, apparently, to them. And the 4 people were Batista, Hurricane Helms, Shane Helms, John Morrison, and Edge. And Edge got suspended for 30 days, but nobody talked about it because during that period of time, Edge was recovering from an injury. I think they were more focused on the injury more than him being suspended. It is what it is at the end of the day. And number 1 was the live sex celebration that he had with Lita, which was interrupted by Ric Flair. And you can only imagine how that turned out, or how that was portrayed and everything. But, yeah, that was then, this is now. It is PG era. It would be stuff like that would have got WWE banned from television. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. That was top 10 things, WWE wants you to forget about the legend that is Adam Copeland, better known to all of us as Edge. And I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast as well. Tune in next week for another installment, as it always is. It is a weekly podcast. I've been constant to my fans and constant to my people since day one. April 7th, 2001. I have never missed a beat. And you know what? I'm proud to do this podcast for you guys because you guys enjoy it and I love you for it. And there's more of this next week, episode 116 next week, guys. And I'll see you soon. Peace out.
Well, enough is enough, and it's time for a change. Professional wrestling, this is it. This is us standing up.
Yes, 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 yes!
That's 13-14! Make it till death!
Dina, I am the best in the world.
Cause that's the bottom line. Cause Stone Cold Simpson.